Hello everybody and welcome to what is literally the single most important video I have ever done. This is the first video I'm making after having rebranded this channel as the Jishua channel, and I want to prove to you guys that I am still the same old Josh. So to do that, we are going to do something that I previously thought was impossible. We are going to rank the Daddy Ganondorfs. Now, there's a few things we need to address before we get into this. One, I am not going to be counting games where just Ganon appears. Stuff like Four Swords Adventures kind of mentions Ganondorf, but he never actually appears in the game. So stuff where Daddy Ganon is just a pig, we'll leave that for another list. Another YouTuber that's more into pig people. Well, I mean, I guess I can't judge. My dude still turns into a pig most of the time. Anyways. Also, I know this guy from Skyward Sword, looks like Ganondorf, but technically he's not Ganondorf. He's just an evil demon that, creates and manifests Ganondorf and looks almost exactly like him. He's a daddy too, he's just not gonna be on the list. And lastly, I just gotta say, one of the things that I have always appreciated about the Zelda series is that I feel like every main series game is good enough that it could be someone's favorite in the series. And kind of similar to that, I think that every version of Ganondorf is hot enough to be someone's favorite. So, don't get angry at me for, the specific placing of this list, because your opinion is totally 100% valid too. This list is going to be 50% based on their actual characterization, 50% based on their level of hotness, and 100% based on my own gosh darn opinion. So if you're angry at me because I listed so-and-so above so-and-so, I don't know, man, they're all hot. So without further ado, let's get into the top 5 Ganondorfs. Okay, so I literally just lied. We actually have an honorable mention to get through first. So you might not recognize this design right here, but originally, before it was decided to just be Ganon in the two games, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons did have a character design for Ganondorf himself, as shown in the Hyrule Historia, and he looks like that. And I really like this design. He looks all wizardy, which I don't think is an aspect of Ganondorf's character that any of the other games have super focused on, so I like that. That gets an honorable mention. Cast spells on me, dude. So in 5th place, we have the original, the OG, the original Ganondorf. It is Ocarina of Times. Now, I know some people are immediately going to be angry at me, despite what I said about it just being opinions at the very start. But Ocarina of Time Ganondorf being technically in last place, that is more of a statement on how highly I think of the other interpretations of Ganondorf, and is not saying that, Ocarina of Time Ganondorf is the worst. Although I guess technically that's what the ranking is kind of implying, but the worst is still pretty dang good. Ocarina of Time was the game that introduced Ganondorf to the world. No longer was the main antagonist of the Zelda series just a pig dude with a trident that would go nyeh, 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 nyeh. I literally spent an entire episode of Really Freaking Clever talking about how good Ganondorf is as a villain in Ocarina of Time. He's built up well, he's menacing, he kicks your butt in the first part of the game, and then slowly you build up the power to fight him, and then, oh crap, he turns into the giant pig dude again. What a twist. And while I think future character designs of Ganondorf would look a little bit better, I do really like this design. He looks cool. I like how his hair gets longer whenever you go 7 years into the future. And also, that laugh haunted my dreams as a kid. And also, shout out to Smash Bros. Ultimate for bringing this design back and showing that when it's in HD, yeah, would still do. In 4th place, we have Ganondorf from the Hyrule Warriors. Now, that's probably an even hotter take than putting Ocarina of Time Ganondorf in 5th place. But, okay, I'm going to explain my logic here. If we were to go just by objective, attractive character design level, Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf would probably be out on top. The long hair thing, the spiky crown, that dude's got it going on. He is a very intimidating character design for Ganondorf. But here is my argument. I think that Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf, he's trying a little bit too hard. You know, whenever you see someone, it's you are objectively 10 out of 10, but also you know that, and you were going for that 10 out of 10. I just don't know if that appeals to me as much as like someone that's a 9 out of 10, but it's like an effortless 9 out of 10. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Please don't kill me, Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf. You do look like the one that would be most capable of killing me. I mean, all of you could, but, like, that guy means business. But legit, I think Hyrule Warriors Ganondorf is a really cool design. It really fits the exaggerated fan service nature of the Hyrule Warriors games, and I would love to see this specific design return sometime. Smash Bros. Ultimate, seriously, what are you doing? Add some character costume DLC, like, right now. Okay, so maybe this entry on the list technically doesn't count, because the game's not actually out yet. But I'm going to go for the obvious joke here and say, you give that guy some water, we're looking at an easy number 1. We're just, that's the ball game if he gets a drink. But for now, in his very, very crusty ass state, he's going to have to settle for number 3. All jokes aside, though, I am very, very interested to find out what they're going to be doing with Ganondorf in the sequel to Breath of the Wild. I think in the original Breath of the Wild, through the little bit of lore we got on the Gerudo and Ganondorf and how they, like, kind of looked back on that part of their history with him, I think that was really, really interesting stuff, and I need to assume that Breath of the Wild 2 is going to address some of these concepts and expand on them a little bit. So if they do that, there is a really good possibility that we are looking at an all-timer when it comes to Ganondorf appearances. But for now, I'm going to put this in at number 3, just for all of the hype that Ganondorf's appearance has caused, and for all of the implications that that character design seems to have. I'm literally sitting here in the middle of recording this, and I am legitimately, okay, this is not a scripted bit. I am legitimately going back and forth on my number 2 and number 1 spots. Like in the middle of recording. I have like the list like kind of in front of me, and like I know what I initially put as number 1, but now I'm going back and forth in the middle of recording. Okay, I'm gonna go with what's on the list right now, but like I might sneakily edit this if I decide like during the editing process, nah, this one deserves number 1, and I'll just edit out all of my voice to make it sound like I had this planned all along. Okay, here it goes. Second place is Wind Waker. Now, when it comes to games that actually feature Ganondorf as a villain the entire time and most fully flesh him out as a character, Wind Waker is objectively on top. That is what Breath of the Wild is going to have to contend with. Wind Waker's version of Ganondorf deliberately builds on what was established in Ocarina of Time and really makes him an even more formidable villain, but also, you know, kind of makes him sympathetic. I actually think that Ganondorf's little monologue about what wind means to him and how in the desert wind was considered a bad thing, I actually think that's probably the best moment of writing in the entire Zelda franchise. It's just a really cool observation that tackles the main theme of the game and also puts a bit of a twist on a concept that up until now had been seen as a positive thing and gives you just a little bit of sympathy for the bad guy. I mean, not too much sympathy because he still like kidnaps girls and tries to murder a 10-year-old, but you know, cool motive, still murder. Also, all of this goes without saying, but on top of all that, this Daddy Ganon be thick. That's it. That's my commentary. That's all we gotta go with. Damn it, I wish I'd finished 64 Things Wrong with Wind Waker so I could impale him in the head. All right, big dramatic drum roll, please. Just kidding, there's only one game with Ganondorf left. Of course it's Twilight Princess Ganondorf. Of course. I didn't doubt it for a second. Except like a minute ago in the video. But other than that, always number 1. Now, there's a lot of criticisms to be had about the way that Twilight Princess deals with its Zant/Ganondorf twist. Zant is initially built up as a very intimidating, almost Darth Vader-esque figure that you eventually realize is not as intimidating as he seems and is revealed in his boss fight to actually be completely nuts. And a lot of people wish that Zant's arc was either a little bit better telegraphed, or that they had kept Zant being a bit of a badass and still had him being manipulated by Ganondorf. But I think in terms of that entire arc, I think the way that Ganondorf portrayed is never really done poorly. Ganondorf's aspect of that twist is actually done really, really well. You have a character that's been intimidating all along, and then you realize, oh crap, there was an even more powerful dude right around the corner. And whenever you finally do see Ganondorf in action, he is insanely powerful in this game. He kills a sage. Rest in peace, Rudo, probably. I think that's Rudo. I don't know. He has to get sucked into the Twilight Realm because they realize, oh crap, we can't kill this guy. He's got the Triforce of Power. Oh poop. And then he manipulates Zant as a giant glowing head. And basically at the end of the game, you come across this dude sitting in the giant chair in Hyrule Castle, and you're like, damn, you have never looked more badass, Ganondorf. And like, again, I could go on and on about his looks, but like, that was like half the jokes in 64 Things Wrong with Twilight Princess. This is just ideal masculinity right there. Green skin and all. So what Ganondorf would you put in first place? Let me know in the comments. And also, if you guys have any other suggestions for videos or things you'd like to see from me as we go through this rebrand and kind of experimental period with the channel, let me know that in the comments too. I'm always open to constructive criticism, suggestions, stuff like that, so let me know. And tune in next week for the Goron Nipple tier list. Okay, I was joking about that, but actually now in the moment, I'm probably going to do that at some point. That seems very on brand for me. Yeah, no, that's definitely happening.